Sometimes a coffee says on the tin exactly what it is. Let's go to Nicaragua and Las Delicias. I'm going to get a little bit political today, and what that might mean is I never am allowed back into Nicaragua again. So if Ortega is watching this, I'm sorry, Daniel. This is not anything against you, but it's really just reporting what's been happening in Nicaragua. So last year, towards the end of last year, there was a big kind of uprising within the people of Nicaragua over some law changes that were introduced by the government, which reduced the pensions of older people in the community, and was really a austerity type plan that we're familiar with here in the UK, but a much harsher one, where a lot of benefits were taken away from the old, the young, the working people, and not necessarily the people who were in better positions. This meant that there was a lot of protests on the street in Nicaragua. There was a lot of I think rioting is probably a fair description of it, of the people fighting against these decisions that the government were making. The government have reversed some of these decisions, but certainly when we visited in February this year, March, you could still tell that it was a definite underlying tension. Going across land borders were a little bit more stringent. Well, they were a lot more stringent than I've ever seen before. And there was a real just tension in the air. I don't want to make my mug political, but I think that it's important to talk about the things that are happening in these sometimes developing countries. If you think about Nicaragua, it's the second poorest economy in the Northern Hemisphere after Haiti, which is, it is ridiculous when you think of its closeness to some fairly rich countries around it, and the resources and the people that they have, and taking from what is already the second poorest economy in the Northern Hemisphere and making the poor poorer is something that I think we should definitely highlight. So this is time, your favourite time, my least favourite time, Roland's Daft Fact of the Week.
I don't think he ever does any work, he just sits around, but I can see him sitting on the sofa now, so let's go get a daft fact from Roland. Roland, what's your actual job here?
Providing daft facts, Steve.
Then give us a daft fact, please.
Did you know that the Miresh family have got two siblings who've both been head judges at the Cup of Excellence, both Eliane and her brother Erwin? They are pretty much unique in that.
They're also pretty awesome cuppers.
True.
True fact.
Waiting for the Instagram competition, the competition with no prize, apart from love and admiration from your host, Stephen Layton. This week's comes from Helena Pro Training from South Shields, and she has took a collection of photos, very beautifully done, and very grateful for your photos, Helena. So, have you ever had an idea and then found out that idea's already been made? So this was an idea I had around about 7-8 years ago, of removing the handle and putting like little heat spots either side so you could drink like that, because, well, I'm trying to reinvent the wheel. And I found it in a shop in Bogota in Colombia, so I couldn't invent it because it had already been done. So we're going to have the Las Delicias from Eliane Miresh. So let's get in there. So the thing that you notice the most when you first taste it is it's got a lot of pear, kind of like really fresh, kind of almost crunchy pear, where you get that really kind of biting acidity with it. But on top of that, you get a lot of sweetness. There's a lot of sweetness, and it is kind of like dark chocolate and really creamy on the finish. Got a real kind of single cream mouthfeel to it as well as flavour. A delicious coffee. Thank you for hanging on in there. Please do come back next week. But do remember, life is too short for bad coffee. Gonna have to edit this bit. Growing calm.